Let's start at the beginning. Okay, we have set up a foundation of my experiences with narcissists, but we haven't even skimmed the surface. I was born into what you would call a karmic family. Now, I didn't learn this until much later in my life, but from a very young age, I knew I was living in a toxic, not so normal family. My dad was most definitely a narcissist. Looking back, it was very obvious. He was always about himself. Everything revolved around him and what mood he was in that day. He never really was around. He told my uncle once, "Oh, I never change diapers. That's woman's work." At least, that is what I was told. So that paints a simple picture of who my dad was. I don't remember ever having what you would call a heart-to-heart conversation with him. I don't remember ever having any kind of close relationship whatsoever. Never felt that father-daughter love. When I got married, I had to tell him I didn't want him there, let alone walk me down the aisle. He was one of those types of narcissists where it was obvious, but my mother was a different story. I didn't realize she was a narcissist until after I had to leave the relationship. They truly can hide in plain sight. I asked God to let the mask fall, and boy, did he deliver. I never planned to leave my mother. I never planned on leaving my best friend of 21 years either. There's just something that happens when you start to heal. You become a different person, a strong, brave person that isn't afraid to stand up and say no anymore. There is always a catalyst that causes the volcano to erupt. My grandmother asked me, "Where did my sweet girl go?" Where did she go? She died. Literally, that girl that could be manipulated, that was a pushover, people pleaser, she is gone. And she is never, ever coming back. My dad was one of those dads that never really showed up to games or anything. I played a lot of sports growing up, so that was a whole lot he missed. He would sometimes only go to my brother's games, and then he would always show himself. He would embarrass me and my mom, and especially my brother. I didn't want him there, but I always wanted a dad who was present. He just was like there, but not there. Like an unwanted ghost that controlled the environment that we were supposed to call home, where you were supposed to feel the safest. I was truly lucky because the school I went to was a little Catholic school. Yes, I grew up Catholic, and I always felt so safe there. I felt more comfortable at school than at home. I was one of the lucky ones in that regard because I know that is not the case for a lot of people. I think it has something to do with the structure of the day and always knowing what to expect next. I remember just feeling cozy at school, which is totally weird, right? Looking back now, I know why I felt that way. Because at home it never felt safe. Walking on eggshells all the time can take its toll. Being the one always keeping the peace can become exhausting. I still feel that uneasy feeling on the weekends. I'm healing that as I type this. Healing is always an ongoing process. I allow myself to feel comfortable in the unknown of what can happen on a weekend day, without that structure of a weekday. It sounds so weird, but it holds meaning into how I felt as a child, not knowing at any given moment when the bottom was going to fall out. At least on a weekday, the time at home was very limited. My mom and dad eventually got divorced. Most of the time, that is a tough transition for families, but not for us. We were happy to have his energy out of the house. But little did I know what would happen next. Stay tuned. I love you.